oh, wicked,
Right.
I can do human extraction,
Yeah, yeah,
ship,
yeah, yeah.
and I can push it into CargoWise, right? And it works so beautifully, it's lovely. And now they've just bought out some motherfuckers that are doing similar things, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with this massive company, it's an old school module based system, right? Everything's a module. You need a
Yeah.
consultant to configure it. Half the people don't know even it even exists, right? And also, Cargo Wise is just one TMS. There's many TMSs out there that I
Yeah.
could integrate with. So I'm just giving you a bit of a backstory about kind of like the situation, and I'm kind of like, all right, what do I do? I kind of started a duck soup sequence on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
contacting people, a 5-step sequence. I've got a few kind of conversations going, but nothing
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Uh,
People are very sensitive to that kind of stuff. So I mean, for the freight forwarders, let's call him Freddy Forwarder, right? So for Freddy, like he's obviously got a lot of problems with cargo wise and some of the logistics in that space. How how is he solving that problem today without you? Like how is he getting around that? What is happening with Freddy in order to solve the problem he's trying to solve?
the throughput, it's a slow throughput, right? I mean, they could handle more shipments, but right now the humans on the keyboard that are reading PDFs are slowing everything down. That's what they're doing. They're downloading PDFs, printing them off. They're shipping documents, so they don't all come in one go. They're PDFs that come like throughout a week or 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
About cargo that needs to move from X to A to B.
yeah,
So like throughout the week, they're kind of being distracted with these PDFs and kind of cross-checking it with the other documents because they're dealing with multiple shipments at the same time. There's mistakes that get made with these shipping documents, right? It happens often, and so that can lead to fines. Um, and so what this software does is drag and drop the PDFs in. It reads that data and it kind of puts it into a nice format for CargoWise. So actually, the human doesn't need to type all that shit into Excel first, cross-check it, and then once the job information is there, they can push it all into. They
okay.
bring they type it up into.
So they're doing it. They're doing it in Excel, right? They'll stick all the data in Excel. They'll get it all right in Excel, and then they'll import the Excel document or CSV or whatever into CargoWise.
Yeah, copy paste it.
Oh, that sounds rough. Um, how are you utilizing that friction point of doing things in Excel in your marketing?
How am I doing with it? What am I saying?
Like the messaging behind your marketing. Does it include some element of the friction point of using spreadsheets?
Yeah, I mean the H1 is stop retyping PDFs into your TMS. But I think I need to change it. I think I
Yeah.
need to change it to because I was just talking to Cloudy. I like Cloudy.
Like from you know we talk about the messaging and stuff. What is it ultimately that you're trying to give to these people? You know, how are they
More,
poor? Sorry.
I was initially saying, it was save like 10 hours a week, right? Save 10 hours, but I don't think it should be that. I think it should be your TMS isn't the bottleneck. The 30 fields in front of them are.
Yeah.
Cargo mode removes the manual data entry step that's capping your shipment volume. That's what I need to be talking about. It's capping the shipment volume. They could do more.
Yeah.
Forget talking about time save. You can talk about the time save, but actually what that means is you can do more. You can have more throughput. You can make more money.
Yeah.
That's what I need. That's
Yeah.
what I need to be talking about. I think your team handles more freight without hiring. Your cargo wise stays exactly where it is.
Okay. Okay.
This is what I'm thinking now. There's a book called The Goal by something Gold Rat, and he talks about industrial design and like Jobs has been kind of. I heard about the dude from Airbnb talking about it, how Jobs and Dyson, and a lot of these guys who make beautiful products. They learn industrial design.
Yeah.
And this book is around industrial design. This is what it talks about, right? It talks about not just more sales, more throughput.
Yeah.
Get the unblock shit.
Yeah.
Unblock the bottleneck so we can do more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Like, so if we're in a situation, right? Okay. So Freddie is not at the moment. You're not seeing Freddie being reactive to saving time. All right. And it might be that they're effort poor or interest poor sometimes, where people are just like, I have no interest in doing this work. It's really boring work. That could be a possibility. I would definitely dig into that a little bit more. And for your one client, like, how do they express that? The work itself, like having to type it in. Like, how did the people who are, who is your client, right? Okay, you got your client. They need to get this information into the system, but they've got this sort of barrier or this piece of friction they have to get through, which is manually you're typing it into a spreadsheet and then importing it in. How does your client today feel about not having to do that anymore? Like, how do they express that?
I haven't asked them. I think I need to send them an email.
That's perfect. I'll definitely get into that space. Like, the reason I use that word, right, is like how do they feel is such an important part of the story, because that's what you're going to use to sell to other people, right? And it's often the phrase that I say is, you can't code your way out of every problem, and it's like, how do you then bring the human skills to the table in order to get people to convert? And a big part of it is understanding how people feel, understanding how people react to things. You've got to understand how, what is their feeling when they feel that friction, but also what is the feeling when they overcome that friction, right? It's those two things that you kind of always trying to do it. So that's almost part of the marketing story. Okay, cool. Let's talk go to market and outreach. Like, so you said you've run some ads, and you said that kind of came with some success, right, here and there. In terms of your,
That was for PDF, right? That was not for the product itself. So the market was different. I mean, I'm assuming it was developers who wanted to get that, not or internal IT.
Yeah. So in terms of like, where are these Freddies today? Like, where are they? I mean, we sort of speculated before that they're on LinkedIn. Do you know that for certain? Like, I'd imagine they are. I don't know if they're very active on LinkedIn, but
yeah, I mean, they are. But not. I mean, maybe my efforts just not being good enough.
How? I mean,
well, I've just unsubscribed from my duck soup. I had a duck soup going out today, and they just weren't very responsive, really. Maybe it might have been my shit sequence, but
what do you think that might have been the failure with that automation? Like, why did that automation not deliver what you thought it was going to deliver? And what did you think it was going to deliver?
Few more conversations. I had a few, I started talking about the Strait of Hormuz because that was kind of in the news. How's it affecting shipments? Blah blah blah. That was a 5-message sequence. The last one asking for a quick chat.
Yeah.
Not a lot of response. But I don't know how active they actually are on there. They're a bit more active on Reddit.
Interesting.
But I don't know if that's the owners or that's the...
touch your toes. Slow lower. Slow rise. 5 reps.
That's my other app going off. It works though, man.
It works. It's working. We can talk about that one as well later. So you've got people on Reddit, who are freight forwarders. They're the Freddies, right? Why are they on Reddit? What are they doing on Reddit? Why are they on Reddit?
Complain about CargoWise. And just talking about, a lot of people are asking how do I do this? Where can I, with any freight forwarders that can go from China to Brazil?
Really interesting. I think that's interesting. They're on Reddit. Like, I don't know what it is about Reddit that's bringing them in, but it's actually quite fascinating that.
Wait, Reddit is a hot channel. I'm telling you, man. There's so many niches. I mean, I like so much. When I was doing analytical labs, right? I was doing a 2-year deep dive into analytical labs, and I spent so much effort on LinkedIn, right? Little did I know, fucking Reddit was a goldmine, right? So many people were hanging out there, but in there, they were telling me about another forum that was like completely off the radar.
Yeah.
It was like, some kind of Discord server where a whole load of chemists were hanging out.
Okay.
And that was such a goldmine to.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about Reddit and this Discord server. Like, are you in that Discord server?
No. I mean that was for a different niche, right? Is what I'm saying. I was just saying that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So for the Reddit one, then, like, what are the Reddit? What are the subreddits that people are involved in? Like, is it one or is it several?
It's mainly logistics, supply chain, and then cargo wise.
Okay. And how active are you in those subreddits?
I like a few posts. I haven't touched it in a few weeks, but yeah, not. I mean, here and there, but nothing big.
Yeah.
A few helpful comments, how to do things and whatnot.
Yeah. And how are you approaching the like what are you posting in those communities?
People have asked for like help on how to do things with the server, so I've given some information about what I know about.
Yeah.
Like how to connect with CargoWise, sorry. Implementation things, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying not to get fucking banned because it's so easy to get banned from these subreddits.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be a bit helpful, and then kind of I'm waiting for someone to ask.
Yeah. No, totally. Okay. So Reddit if Reddit is so if Reddit is looking so promising, let's focus in on that and not worry about LinkedIn. Okay. Now the biggest problem I think you're going to find with LinkedIn is you have to be sort of all in or not at all. Right? And because your LinkedIn profile, your personal profile, is not locked in to talk to specifically those Freddies, it's hard for those Freddies to then turn around and take value away from it. Right? And we all see it. We have all experienced it, right? Like, I will be on LinkedIn. I want to talk to software developers. I want to talk to people in tech. People know this, right? It's clear from my profile that that's what it is. And then, a wealth manager will send a connection request. A business analyst will send a connection request. And I'm like, I already know you're trying to sell me something, right? I already know it. Like, of course you are, because you're not you're not my version of Freddie, right? So there's no point of me, connecting with you. And people are so sensitive to that on LinkedIn at the moment that it's really difficult to go in with automations, and it's really difficult to go in without being all in or not at all, right? And you've got to sort of say, right, my entire profile has to be about Freddy's, right? And if you look at some of the most performant people on LinkedIn, you will see this, where people are just like, this one thing, that's it. I do this one thing in this one way that is definitely different from other people, but that's how I do it. It's just this one way. I do this one thing, this one way for this one type of person. That's it. And that's how they get successful on LinkedIn, because people are like, how do I take away value from this person? It's a lot more, kind of on YouTube, you can be a little bit loosey-goosey with your niche, right? Where you can kind of go, oh, I'm a tech YouTuber, right? And you can go all the way from phones to game consoles, right? You can get a little bit more niche. But like LinkedIn is hyper niche. If you are anywhere outside of that hyper niche, then it's very difficult to get any kind of traction when it comes to doing outreach or talking to people or doing any of those kind of things. It just becomes so difficult as a thing. And that's a mistake I've made, like, in the past, but also because I've always went to LinkedIn to make content in a way that I approach other social media platforms, but it turns out LinkedIn's very different, and that's an important point. It's all the different spaces are very different, so it's very difficult to kind of get into that space. And when it comes to automations, this is something that I've seen so many times, especially with my clients, where it's like, if you don't know what you're going to automate just yet, if you don't know what standard looks like, and you don't know what good looks like, and you don't know what best looks like, then it's hard. Like, what are you automating for? What is it that you're automating? Like, it becomes a very difficult thing to define. So often with people that I've seen who put, even with the biggest one really is just like huge email automations and huge sort of campaigns and stuff. I know somebody who used to work at Customer IO, right, which is all kind of like post sign up kind of customer service kind of stuff, like automations. And that was the story I kept hearing. It was like people were signing up and they weren't taking value away because they were automating things that didn't need to be automated for them. It wasn't giving them any value to automate that thing. It's like, great, you saved yourself 3 button clicks. Doesn't change the fact you're not getting any more customers, from changing 3 button clicks to 1 button click. That doesn't do anything for you. So, that's kind of where that comes in from. So let's focus in on Reddit. And where are we on Reddit? Now, you're saying, I need somebody to ask the right question, right? If no one's asking the question, then is it the right product for them?
The people using the product aren't the people that are buying the product.
Okay.
So you don't get these import-export clerks looking for better solutions because they don't control the purse strings.
Okay. Who does?
So it's the account managers. It's the directors. It's the operations managers. Right. And so I feel like LinkedIn. I mean, it's funny that you say that about LinkedIn because I've always kind of gone with the Gary Vee style of things. It's like, people don't just care about one niche. Like, if you can get that Venn diagram of people that love SaaS and love fucking, AI and love, smoking weed, that is your target niche, right? And so my thinking was like, talk about lots of shit, right?
Yeah, it becomes muddled.
But I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
It's
The problem with Gary Vee, right? And side note, to have a short rant. Somebody did this the other day. I was watching they were doing a presentation and they commented on the fact that Gary Vee turned around and said you should be doing 100 pieces of content a day, right? And it went viral. And it was a room full of marketers, and it was like, who had a small panic attack when they heard Gary Vee say that? Because they were like, I bet a lot of their bosses saw that post and went, why are we not doing 100 posts a day? And like everyone put their hand up, and they were just like, it's impossible, right? It is just like, how are you going to do 100 pieces of content per day? That is wild. And the thing is with Gary Vee is that, and I think this is true over all social media platforms, and this is something that I've picked up from other social media marketers, right? And I spend a lot of my time with social media marketers lately, because I've got loads of questions for them. But one thing that kind of comes through is that the game you play when you've got a small following is a very, very, very different game to play when you've got a large following. And what Gary Vee can lean on is the fact that he has a large following, so he can talk about other things because he's already got the audience, right? He's already built up an audience that know, like, and trusts him, so he can talk about other things. He can say, he can talk about this, he can talk about that, blah blah blah. It's sort of the same with Simon Squibb, right? He sort of spent years just sort of saying, "What's your dream?" Right, for years and years and years. What's your dream? What's your dream? What's your dream? Talk about that. I've done business, blah 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 blah. But now he's got that prominence and he's got that place. Now he's like, so how do we fix the education system, right? How do we, blah, blah, blah. And now he's starting to voice his political opinions. Now, his political opinions are bad, and that's by the by, but he's allowed to kind of be able to kind of go beyond his space because he's got the audience already, and they already know, like, and trust him. So the game that, I'm playing here on TikTok, as I'm relatively new to the platform, the same game I'm playing on YouTube and on LinkedIn is to basically say, okay, how do I get people to know, like, and trust me? Now, if the people with the purse strings are the account managers, how are you going to get those account managers to know, like, and trust you? And this is a really interesting problem, by the way, that everybody finds when they go to B2B, all right, is that you know how to appeal to the people who are going to use the product, but how do you appeal to the people who are going to buy the product, right? And you've got to do both. And what I've actually got gifting suspended and live visibility restricted. Gifts are suspended and you're live restricted in
These motherfuckers, man. I'm telling you, did you see that text that they sent? Did you see that screenshot that I posted on your post?
No.
Mate, they have been
due to reproduced content. What?
This is live, motherfucker.
Look who sat here on a call. How can there be reproduced content? Seriously, like, sometimes with these platforms, you know.
Stick.
All right, let's click the button. See, now you're just interrupting my stream, TikTok, right? With two people on a call, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so you've got to appeal to these two groups of people, and people who are in the I'm going to slightly move my camera a little bit. There we go. Who are in the B2B space will find this often, right? Where they're like, okay, I need to appeal to people who use the product, and I need to appeal to people who are account managers. So how do you do both, right? That has to be part of the strategy, right? If you don't win over the account managers, they're not going to hand over the cash. And if you don't win over the users, they're not going to advocate for your product, right? And you need both of those things. So where are the account managers right now? Like, you'll say they're not on Reddit.
Well, Reddit's anonymous, right? So I don't know.
Okay.
But, I definitely know there are people on Reddit, on LinkedIn. Sorry, you can tell by how active they are. Like, everyone's got a profile, but
Yeah.
how often they give a shit about LinkedIn, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And that might be the case. Is that on your?
I'm just not trying hard enough with the sequencing.
It might be a case that you just go all in on LinkedIn for those account managers, right? And you go all in on. Sorry, I've just my lighting is getting.
Probably a better idea. You can get more light on your face.
There we go. Let's get rid of that. It was a bit cloudy and it was fine, and now there we go. That's better. We reviewed your appeal and confirmed that gifting and visibility for this live cannot be restored in recommendations and search results.
Keep the gifts, mate.
I don't even care. I care about the visibility, you know. And it's like the warning was the warning was pre-recorded content, and it's like, how can it be pre-recorded if I'm talking about it? Like. How is that possible? That's impossible. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you're gonna have to appeal to both these people. With what we're talking about, they're on LinkedIn. So maybe that's what I was talking about. Like, maybe you need to just go all in for those account managers on your LinkedIn page for a period of time, say 3 to 4 months. How many followers have you got on LinkedIn?
Followers? I don't know about followers. Connections? I've got quite a few connections, but not followers.
What are we talking about in numbers?
5,000, but the different niches, not just.
Yeah, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Is like, if you put a message out there, it's like, in one circumstance, if you've got, the account manager, let's call them Andy account manager, right?
Yeah.
You've got the Andys in there, cool. You might have some Freddies in there, cool. But then if you've got a, Sally startup in there as well, then when Sally sees content around freight and logistics, Sally's just going to switch off, right? And just scroll on by and won't give two hoots about what you got to say.
What do you reckon? You can at least pick one niche on fucking LinkedIn.
Yeah. Just hit it. Just hit it hard, right? And considering, a big chunk of my sales comes from LinkedIn, right? A big chunk of sales comes from LinkedIn. And, you know, I've just seen my users fucking drop off. Thanks TikTok. Anyway, a big chunk of my sales comes from LinkedIn, but like that comes from the place that people will see my profile and know exactly that I'm talking to them, right, and only them, and that the offer that I have solves a very specific problem that they experience, and that I know that problem so well that I am very specifically positioned to fix that problem, right? And that's the reason why I'm in a position I put a comment on a post and that person saw it and turned into a client. Like, that's how powerful it can be if you get it right. But you have to talk to one person, right? Potentially two, but they have to overlap massively. But that's where LinkedIn is going to move you forward. So maybe it's a period of time that you say, do you know what, for the next 6 months, my LinkedIn is only going to be about these people. And if they're not those people, I'm going to have to flush them out, right? But what's going to happen is that certain, in other areas of doing activity, right, you're going to find that more people are going to start gravitating towards you. And now, last week week before, I didn't post that much on LinkedIn. And yet I was still having loads of people who were my ideal customer profile send me connection requests and follow me, right? And I wasn't doing anything. And that's what happens because your page is set up for those people, right?
Mm. Yeah, I like that. I mean,
it's a bit like the example I always use is I was in Austin, Texas, right? And I was with some friends and they were saying like, oh, we should go play some board games, right? And have a board games night. I said, that sounds really good. Like, should we do it at somebody's house or should we go somewhere to do it? And they were all like, oh, let's go somewhere. So they went online and they went, oh, there is a bar that is a board game bar, right, that we can go to, and they've got loads of board games there, we can play whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, let's go do that then. So we went to this board game bar and it was really good and we had a really great time, and it served our needs perfectly, right? Served our needs absolutely spot on. Fast forward like a year and a half, I'm just in the group chat, right, chatting. And they said, oh, do you know what's interesting? There's a better place to play board games. I'm like, oh yeah, where's that? And it was like, oh, it's this bar here. And it was like, yeah, but they didn't actually say that they are a good venue for board games, right? They do a board games night. They don't put it anywhere. And they were like, yeah, it's weird that, isn't it? And it's like, that's the point. Specificity sells, right? Because we were looking for that one specific thing and they said we exist for that specific thing, that led to our conversion and say, right, okay, let's go to that thing. But the bar, even though the other bar is better facilitated for people playing board games, because apparently they had bigger desks, bigger tables and more space, and they put on one board game night, because they don't specifically do that thing, they're unable to bring more people into their what am I saying? Into their pipeline, right? They can't do it because it's not specific enough, right? They're just the best bar in Austin. Cool, right? Everybody says that, so great, And that's a story of specificity sales. So maybe if you decide, let me go all in on this for a period of time, make your LinkedIn just about that. Like, your role is, I need as many Andy account managers, and similarly, I want to be able to get quite a few Freddie freight forwarders as possible within my own sphere of influence, right? And then I can talk directly to them, right? Using the algorithms just to corral the right people who are ready to buy from you. That's what you're trying to do. And that's how you can achieve it. How does that sound as a thing? It's a big change for the LinkedIn, but how does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, I think just talking about freight, cargo, logistics for the next 6 months is fine. My reservation is like, I've got to get the line right with the content, because I don't want it. I'm not a logistics expert, right? I'm a software expert.
Yeah.
I'm a systems expert. So,
but you can use that as content.
yeah.
You know, there's a guy called his name's Alex Hedges, right? And I always laugh because he used to be a gardener, and now he's making a transition to be to be a data analyst, right? And he's learning about how to use SQL. He's learning about databases. He's learning about all of these things, right? And he just posts like nearly every day just to say, from garden beds to data sets, right? And he does that content all the time. He has grown a phenomenal audience because of it. So it might be a case that your content is, I know software. How do I learn as much as possible in logistics? Okay, so that I can build the best piece of software possible for logistics, right? And you can basically say, okay, day one, learning about logistics, and just write down what you learned that day, right? And it doesn't even have to be that long, right? I'll ping you Alex's page, and you can just go look at his posts. There's really nothing to it at all. There's nothing at all of any. He's not writing a novel. He's not writing the most insightful post in the world. He's just saying, this is what I learned today. And he's built an incredible audience off of that. So you can utilize that, and that's the thing. Like, we talk about strengths and weaknesses, right? Okay. But in fact, we should talk about strengths and growth opportunities, right? This is opportunity for you to grow. Now, if you share that story of growth, people will gravitate towards you. Okay. And there's how many times do you see people doing really well on TikTok when they do this very specific type of content, which is, learning the AWS certification in 50 days, right? Or learning how to build iOS apps in 60 days, right? People really do get invested in that type of content because it's very human to say, I don't know this, I'm the underdog, but I'm going to become really good at this thing. Come along the journey with me. And you'll start to see, if you start to see people starting telling you things that are important, right? If you start posting content about learning about as much as possible about logistics, and you start seeing people going like, oh, you need to know about this thing, by the way. Oh, and by the way, if you're looking at that thing, you need to know this other thing, by the way. Then okay, this is actually a way that I can connect with people is on this journey, right? And it's your story. Okay, and that's the two parts of it, right? The thing I'm always clear on my content, and you're probably, now I mention it, you're probably going to start seeing this, is who's the hero in the story, right? And that's very often what I'm doing, right? Is who's the hero in the story? It's not me, right? It's the viewer, it's the reader, right? It's the person consuming the content. They're the hero of the story. They just don't know it yet. All I do is say, you could be the hero of your story, right? And that's why I'm like, one of my bigger videos this week, like the last couple of weeks, was me saying, oh, by the way, you can go off and build a brand as a software developer, as a vibe coding cleanup specialist, right? Because I keep seeing these vibe coded apps come out, and it is not great. Somebody described it as absolute mayonnaise, right? When he looked at the code that the AI generated, and I was like, yeah. And it's like, okay, it's terrible work, right? It's shit work. I get that. I get it. The work ain't great, right? I'm happy to admit that. But you know what? Boring pays the bills, right? Boring pays the bills. There are people who set up cleaning companies who become millionaires. Why is that? Mm-hmm. It's the same principle in that, and I've got that piece of content coming out this week where it's like, it's the same principle, right? That yes, everybody's going after the flashy, and if you get the flashy right, you can go from, zero to crazy amounts of money. Absolutely, but there's only room for a very few people. But then if you've got a huge unfulfilled market, right, which I'm guessing that I bet behind the scenes of the logistics space, there is a massive market that's unfulfilled. then you can do that boring work and get out all those things, but you have to tell the story of how to get there. So telling the story where the other person is the hero helps them get there, right? It helps them say, okay, now I'm ready to associate. On the other side of things, you've also got, yourself and, how you play a part in that story. It's just like, well, I'm just a side character here. Okay. You're the hero. I'm the side character. And your part of growth and doing content around learning about logistics is you being the side character to the story where the end consumer is the hero. And that's what really engages people in a way that they're going to buy from you, which is why I have a very small following on TikTok. I don't have a big following on LinkedIn. And yet I convert a lot of people, and some of them at quite high price points because of it. Because they're like, yeah, I want to be that person. It's like, okay, well, who's the facilitator? Me. I'm the side character to that. And that's what kind of, compels people to buy from you is that whole thing. So it kind of makes sense. Like, there's a lot of storytelling in that whole piece.
Yeah, no, it's nice. That was nice. Make them the hero. I'm the side. I'm the side character.
Same as Simon Squibb, right? What's your dream? I don't really like Simon Squibb, but you look at Simon Squibb. What's your dream? Who's the hero in that story? It's not Simon Squibb, right? He says, "Oh, I've got all my knowledge in business, and I wrote this book, right? And that can help you." But who's the hero? It's the person that he's talking to. That's the thing. They're the hero. So you need to shift that. It's a bit like, you watch like The Matrix, right? And you look at, you see characters in these shows, right? And they've got boring names and they're quite faceless and they've got kind of little character to them. The whole reason they do that is because you can put yourself in the place of the hero of the story. That's why they do that, right? You can be Neo, you can be Katniss, you can be Harry Potter, right? It helps you put you in that position to say, well, I want to be the hero of that story. And that's why those characters are often very one-dimensional and a bit boring, right? Because that's what they're trying to get across. It's a bit like, do you ever watch wrestling? I don't know if you're...
Yeah.
Right, so it's like wrestling, right? It's like, you want to... When you see, Stone Cold Steve Austin come along, right, and give the stunner to Vince McMahon, everyone sat there like, yeah, that's what I want to do to my boss, That's why that storyline worked so successfully for them, because it was just like, yeah, stick it to the boss. Yeah. I hate that guy too, right? Always breathing down my neck, always giving me unreasonable, demands. Yeah, I want to go in there and give him a Stone Cold Stunner. Yeah, do it for me, right? And that's the point, is that the audience puts themselves in the position of the hero. So you need to sort of open that up in the content, and you can do that, on LinkedIn for, the account managers. Because how are the account managers going to be the hero? Is when they save money and when they save time and when they save energy and they save resources and they save people, right? That's how they become the hero of the story. So you need to tell that story, right? And I've got it again. I've got this thing again. Gift suspended, life visibility restricted.
What the flip?
Yeah. I'm going to sort of just flash this on screen as a way of saying, well, quite obviously not. And I clicked the appeal button, and I had people come in as well, start coming in again. I was like, okay, cool, right, people are starting to flow in again, and then they've flagged this up for me. It's the state of it. So what do you... okay, let's click that. I'll put that on screen. Hey, people at TikTok. Hey, TikTok people. Where's the window? There it is. TikTok people, look, I have on screen the dialogue box, and I am clicking my content does not contain the content mentioned, which is pre-recorded. Submit. State of it. Okay, so how does that sound generally? Like, does that sound like the beginnings of a strategy for you, like in terms of...
Yes, I do like that. I don't make him the hero of the story. I like that.
Yeah. And also, like, really, really doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on your LinkedIn to say, I speak to one person for one problem in one space, just really specifically talk to those people and design your whole page around it. If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see it, right? It's clearly only one person I'm talking to, right? Software developers who are looking to become founders, but they need to gain the human skills along with the technical skills in order to build and monetize a product. It's so clear on my page, right? It's all over it. And it's when people get there and they see my page, immediately they're like, is that for me? No, I'm going to go. Cool, fine. I don't want you anyway, right? I can't sell to you anyway. I had this recently. I was going to an event and I got into the WhatsApp group, and as a testament of how strong my go-to-market is, I was in this WhatsApp group and I mentioned a couple of things, and I said, oh, I've got an old presentation if you want to see it. And they were like, yeah, sure. So I posted the presentation, and the admin blocked me and took out and deleted the post. And he said, oh, we don't allow sales or promoting in our thing. And I was like, it's literally me giving a presentation for like 5 minutes. Did you even watch it? Right, it's 7 minutes, and I was like, it's literally just, there's no sales in there, it's just the presentation. Appeal not approved. Great, thanks. Yeah, it's a fucking state of it. But yeah. Anyway, I kind of said, did you watch it? Right, because and I sent him the link again. I said, go and watch it. It's 7 minutes long. There is no pitch in that at all anywhere. But the reason he thought I was selling was because my go-to-market is so strong, right? Immediately he knew who my target audience was. He knew who my ideal customer profile was, and he knew that everybody in that WhatsApp group was exactly that person, right? And the identity was so clear that I literally just posted a presentation and they thought, oh, you're selling, right? And it's like, I'm not selling. But, ironically, the presentation was on go-to-market, and I was like, that's a testament to how good my go-to-market is that I don't even have to pitch, and you already know what I sell, you already know how I'm useful, and you already know what positioning I have in the market. And I haven't even explained any of that, but that's how strong my go-to-market is, because it's so targeted. So I think to-dos to come out of this would be, to kick off with, look at your LinkedIn and customize it and really make it specific. It's kind of like what they say about CVs, right? Where they're like, "I'll make your CV specific to the role that you're applying for." It's a similar thing. Make your presence and your marketing specific to the people who are going to buy from you. Also, the people who are most likely to buy from you. Because if you find a subset of those people who are the most likely to buy from you, target even more. Get even more targeted. Having a high conversion rate on a small number of people often will be more beneficial than a small conversion rate on a large amount of people, right? And there's no point getting into the maths of it. There's no point, but generally you can use it as a rule of thumb. So I would definitely do that and get into the specifics of that and find out who are those people and how can you shape your LinkedIn in a way, in content and on your page, to be able to say, okay, I'm here to serve you. This is the product I want to build, and I want to be able to fix your problem with this, this, and this, and this. No one else is coming to fix your problem. And CargoWise is an absolute piece of garbage. You know how much you hate it. You know how frustrated you get with it. Well, let's fix that problem together. Okay, that's going to get people, really invested, right? And go, yeah, cool. I want to see this fixed as well, because this thing's been doing my head in, and I understand it may not be fixed today, but I want it to be fixed in the future, right? So start off with that. The next thing I would then move on to is then your content, and I would, again, sort of do the growth piece. I think that would be quite successful. You can do that for like maybe a couple of months, just doing consistent posts on like me learning everything about logistics and freight forwarding, right? And just writing down all the things. Oh, I learned this today. That's quite interesting. Blah, 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 blah. And then see what happens, right? And that's like 10 minutes out of your day. It's not even long, The best post you can do on LinkedIn, by the way, is text and an image. And that's the best format that you can go with right now. So I wouldn't get too involved in video. I wouldn't get too involved in carousels. The only thing I see that's performant, text and an image. That's it. That's your lot. So that's where would be good. And then I would get into the comments, right? And get into the comments of people who's big in the space of logistics and, freight and all that kind of stuff.
Who's big? This Shankar, DBK. There's a few of these big. There's like 4 of them. I've forgotten all their names now.
Okay, get that list.
There's loads of little small ones, right?
So if you're how well did their posts do on LinkedIn? Like, do they get a decent amount of engagement? 20, 30 pieces of engagement maybe on their posts.
I think they're all a bit shit on LinkedIn. You know,
Take a look at the numbers.
yeah, I need to
Make
look
it,
at-
yeah, make a list and take a look at their numbers, right? If you look at their numbers and you're like, okay, well, 40, 50 people show up in the engagement, you can click on the engagement button and it shows you everybody who engaged with that post. Are the people in the post matching Andy account manager and Freddie Freight or Freddie Freight forwarder, right? Are they matching those things? If so, whenever that person posts, you need to get a comment in there, right? Because impressions on comments, massive compared to impressions on posts. I don't know why. LinkedIn being weird. But that happens, right? So definitely do that. On the Reddit side of things, I would definitely spend time doing more, doing a few more posts. But then, have you done any scraping of Reddit, of those subreddits, to discover anything interesting?
I've scraped pain points, what their issues are, like SaaS solutions, all the kind of normal shit.
What has any other problems come out, or any other pain points come out from scraping those posts?
Everyone's very bitter about cargo-wise changing prices. They changed prices late last year, and it meant that they went to a per transaction model rather than a per seat model. And so a lot of people are upset because it's meant overall they have to increase their prices, and they have to put on a line item like software as a line item, right? And so when I did a few posts talking about that, they were kind of quite bitter.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of confusion around what's going on, right? So I did a few videos with Notebook LM.
Yeah.
That was popular. That kind of helped a lot.
Yeah.
Explaining what the hell was going on.
But I use Notebook LM for a lot of my desktop research, funnily enough. But you can... Sorry?
It's a brilliant tool.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'm actually thinking of building my own light version of it for basically product manager in your pocket type thing. Side note.
Kids, man. That's what I want.
Sorry?
For the education. I think schools are useless. I think I think we can just keep them at home and do a 2-hour session and then let them play for the rest of the day. That's what I want. Like if they could do a focus session on a subject in the way they want to learn with the subject, talking about in context of like football or whatever it is that they're interested in, I reckon they'd learn so much better. And then
that's what Simon Scribb says. He homeschools his kid.
Yeah, I'd love it. I could afford it, man.
So yeah. Anyway, doing a bit more of a deep dive and doing a bit more of a scan of those subreddits, like really scraping deep. So scrape the top 100 posts from the past year, then pick up the top 20 comments from those posts is very common of what I do. And then I stick all of that in Notebook LM. I showed you this actually before, didn't I? I stick that all in Notebook LM and then just sort of start asking it questions about pain points and where friction is. Because it may not be a case of you need those friction points for features, and they may well come forward as features. But it also, it feeds into your marketing when you want to agitate, right? Agitated propaganda, right, is used by the Soviets in the 60s and 70s. Agitated propaganda, where you agitprop is a very powerful tool to get people to a place where they actually do something, right? Where they actually take, and that's the point. You want to activate people, and it's very hard to activate people when your story is just about solutions, right?
I feel like it's ripped out from their diary. Out. Yes, I feel that. Yeah, exactly. That's what gets people activated, and you want to get people activated. Which is why, on LinkedIn, like every time there are layoffs, I do a post on LinkedIn about it every single time, because it's agitated propaganda, essentially.
right? Look at these billionaires. They told you, go learn how to code and there'll always be a job for you. Go look at these billionaires. They turn around and said, let us accumulate as much as possible and we will create jobs for everybody. Look at these billionaires. They're doing nothing but laying you off and telling you you've got no job in the future. The job we told you to learn how to do. Look at what they did to you, right? Look at what you should be angry. You should be furious. Maybe you need to build your own product and maybe you need someone to coach you on human skills for technical people, just saying. But it's agitated propaganda, right? That's how it works. It activates people. And part of it is finding that space. So I'm always looking for things that royally, royally piss people off. And, part of that, I did a post recently and, you commented on it actually. It was about SaaS fatigue, right? That engaged you to respond, right? That's agitated propaganda, right? Because I'm sitting there saying like, oh man, this is really annoying. This really bugs me. Does it bug anyone else? And then people say, yeah, actually, I've got a massive amount of SaaS fatigue as well. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I know that there's a piece of agitated propaganda I can use, right? That's the point, right? You're trying to kind of build this up and kind of fuel that kind of, oh man, this thing does my head in, right? And when you rant, right, or you point something out, or you connect two things together, suddenly people go, oh, yeah, I never looked at it that before. And therefore people then engage, right? And unfortunately, it's very, very, very effective. But it is part of the marketing story. It's part of the go-to-market. It's part of all of these things. Because you look at Anthropic right now, and the reason they're saying, what's his name? Mario, whatever his name is, right? And he's coming out and saying like, oh, you know what? Software developers are going to, software engineering jobs going to be gone in 6 months' time. And even though he's been saying it for 3 years, right? He said it's going to be gone in 6 months' time, right? The reason he's saying that, because that is agitated propaganda for people who have to pay salaries to software engineers, right? Aren't you mad? Aren't you angry that you have to pay human beings to write code for you? Are you not mad at that? That absolutely, I'm mad at that. Aren't you mad at that? Cool. Well, I'm going to give you a solution where you don't have to do that. That's what he's saying to them. When he says software engineering jobs will be gone, he's not telling software engineers. That message isn't for software engineers or software developers. That message is for the people who have to pay them. And that's what they're getting at. And, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Right. And, that's part of it. So how does that sound as a bit more of a complete picture then of go-to-market, a bit more marketing? Does that kind of shape up in a way that you can implement? Is there anything you also need clarity on, or?
No, that sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, need to focus on the stories, focus on learnings. I like that. Yeah.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah, just niche it down. On
Yeah.
logistics and LinkedIn. I can do something else on YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah. Do you want to have a few minutes on your movement app thing?
Shall we? All right, give me a sec.
Do you have a few minutes? We'll talk about that one because that's quite new. So there's probably a little less to talk about there because there's still a lot of defining to do, I guess. But you've got an app. You've got an app where it will track your movements.
Correct.
And it will prompt you to do exercises and stretches as well? Or was it just exercises?
Yeah, exercises and stretches, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
So the way it works is, so you can set it to a Pomodoro, or you can set it to just every X amount of minutes. So I've got mine set to 20 minutes at the moment.
Okay.
If I kind of resume that, I paused it for the conversation, and then let's just activate it now, right? So let's just go with legs. Let's just go with 20. Okay.
Reach behind your head. Pull elbow gently.
Not that
Hold
one.
30 each side.
Not that one. Let's go with legs. Squats. Yeah, so it's
20 squats.
it interrupts
Body
me
weight.
every
Now.
X minutes and just gets me to exercise.
Nice.
And it's
Good
mental,
depth.
but it fucking works.
Yeah.
My sees my shit gets me to
1.
There you go. Anyway, Yeah, I'm not going to do 20 squats there. But the thing that I did with this that I quite like is I try to make it easier to market. So I
Yeah.
created this. Where is it? Settings. So I've create basically every video that every time I do an exercise, it records me with 2 cameras, and it creates the video for me.
Okay.
And so what it just created is this basically. Yeah, so this thing here, this is what it's just created, right?
Yeah.
The beginning, it's got the voice, it speeds up me.
20 squats. Body weight. Now.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
that fucked up completely. And then oh no, there you go. Oh, you know what it was doing? It was taking the pictures from the other camera. It's basically slicing 2 cameras together, and because I wasn't in that other frame, that's why you saw that.
Yeah.
And then it puts a little message at the end, right? Code compiles, knees don't.
I like it.
And this is all because I'm sat on my bloody computer, literally kind of, mate, I'm like a crack fiend to Claude right now, man. I am just on it all day long, right? And I could carry on if I don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
This is what it's like, right? But everything else suffers, right? My knees starting going buggery because I'm sitting down all the time, and my shoulders mash up because I've got like 17 screens. I'm like,
No, I hear you. So who is this for? Right, let's go back again to personas and ideal customer profiles. Like, who is this for?
This was for me.
Okay, so who are you in relation to why this product needs to exist?
So this is people who are at the computer all day, kind of still.
Okay.
It's not how humans are meant to be. We're meant to be moving.
Yep.
Right, but you've got to do fucking computer work right now. So
yeah,
it's for people who have got that gym subscription, but don't end up going because they're stuck on their machine and they feel like, actually, I've got to fucking work first. And
that's a good bit of marketing right there. That's a real pain point right there.
Yeah. And instead of doing that 10-minute meditation session in the morning, you come straight on, coffee, get straight on the laptop and just fucking grind.
Yeah.
Right? Everything else is secondary because actually it's really important to just get this shit done now,
Yeah.
And then everything else is just an effort, right?
Yeah. No, totally. So who are those people? Like, for yourself, you're, a solo business owner, right? So that's, are you going to be saying, actually, I'm going to target solo business owners, or are you going to target somebody else?
Initially, I was thinking like programmers, but actually, I think it's anyone like founders, business owners, and people who are kind of like constantly at their machines, right?
Again, go specificity sales,
Yeah. It's too vague, isn't it? Is that what you thought? Too vague?
Specificity sells, and people will take on so the issue that kind of crops up is when you're not specific on who you're building for, the cognitive load moves onto the visitor to work out, is this for me?
Yeah.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to make that leap. And that's the problem. So when you make it specific to say, hey, are you this person? Are you a software developer who sat at their machine all day, who's got a gym subscription, who never goes to the gym? And you're like, I need to take care of my body because I know being sat in this chair is going to break it at some point.
Yeah. Then
I'm for you. I'm here to solve your problem. And that is this. Because I assume your audience is are all software developers and engineers, right? All technical people. Is that right?
I think entrepreneurs and devs.
Okay.
Dev founders.
Target dev founders.
technical dev founders. Yeah.
Yeah. So similar to me. I assume that's why we've ended up in the same sort of circle. Is yeah, I'm targeting developers looking to become founders and new technical founders. So and I find the same thing as well. As in fact, after this call, I'm going to the gym to have a swim. So yeah, I hear you on that one. It does get very difficult. Like yesterday, I wanted to go and I just didn't get a chance, and it was like I really wanted to go for a swim, and it just didn't happen. I just had to get into the outreach too much. The other bit of it as well is, and this might be something worth exploring, and I dropped this in a voice message to a friend of mine recently. This might be worth exploring, which is sometimes I will weigh up the guilt of not going to the gym with the guilt of not doing outreach. Sometimes. And that is and I was saying to my friends, it's like such a horrible place to be in. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, I'll sit there and go, right, I could do 4 hours of outreach, right? Well, I can go to the gym for a couple of hours, but then I only do 2 hours of outreach, right? So there's the guilt of only doing 2 hours of outreach worse than the guilt of not going to the gym at all. And that's what will go through my brain. And it's like, right, what do I feel guilty about? and that happens. So it might be worth sort of exploring that as a bit of messaging as well. That's just me, from experience, really. And I think that's a good avenue. So I would get into their spaces. Where are they today? Again, I'll keep. I know I've said this about it, but that's what's important, right? You need to work out where they are today because you need to go to them. Right, bringing people to you is very, very, very difficult. It costs time, effort, and money, aka online ads. Right, it costs money, so you have to go to them. That's a lot cheaper and a lot easier, but you have to figure out where they are. So where are they today? Where are these dev founders today?
Yeah. Where do we hang out? Fucking.
Yeah. So quite a lot of them on Reddit. This is where you're lucky because I've done a lot of this work already. A lot of them on Reddit. And that's a very common one. But one very common one, which will it's a bit unexpected. Have you ever used FocusMate before?
No.
So it's an online matchmaking for virtual co-working.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Honestly, when I need to lock in, I'm on FocusMate doing co-working sessions.
What's it called?
FocusMate.
I fucking love that, man.
It's
this is why I use TikTok. This is what I wanted TikTok for.
Yeah. So you just get paired up with somebody.
Yeah.
Like you just get paired up. Brendan, you're in the live. Brendan, yo, stick around, Brendan. Don't go. Oh, I think he's gone. Oh, sorry, he's a mate of mine. Very big in the SaaS space, by the way. You want to know sales? You want to know about sales? You talk to Brendan. That man is a legend. He's worked for, I think, 4 startups. All of them became unicorns.
Oh, fantastic.
But he's gone. He's gone. I was trying to goad him into a conversation because he knows his shit. He's actually he's with a AI company now, which what are they called? They're doing really well for themselves at the moment. Shit. I've forgotten now, but oh well. Anyway. So FocusMate, I will go on there. I will meet a lot of software developers on there. Right. So part of the reason I'm always there is that when you go in, you matchmake with somebody, you connect, and then you say, oh, okay, yeah, let's have a session together. So you have an hour. And you start off, you introduce yourself, say, hey, how are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? Then you say, well, what am I working on? And that person says, oh, I'm doing this. And I say, well, I'm doing this. And then you mute your microphones and you just work, right? And it's just, you just have them to the side. Really helps with accountability, right? In that space. But in that one little gap where it's like, you introduce yourself, I will say, oh yeah, I run a business. I help developers become founders. Just so they can get a little bit of financial freedom. And right now I'm going to do some outreach. Right? And then suddenly they know who I am. And so many times at the end of the call, they're like, can I get your LinkedIn? I'm like, yeah, sure. And 2 people from FocusMate have become clients because of it.
That's cool.
Go to where people are.
So what do you share your screen? Is it?
You can do. I don't. I just keep my camera on.
Okay, or you just cameras, yeah.
Yeah. But some people do share screens. That is an option, mainly because you don't, get procrastinate on TikTok or whatever. But it is an avenue. You can do 25-minute sessions, so you can get quite a few in a day. But I will do that as a means of sort of just creating a bit of awareness, and even if they're not, in a place of, I'm going to do it. So I'm currently working on a new offer, which is going to be a lower price point offer. And part of that is basically, right, okay, if I meet with somebody and I talk to somebody, they know who I am, and I reach out and have a conversation with them, I have a low price point offer to say, hey, if you want to do something, here's something you can do. Mm-hmm. Right, and that's a bit of sales for me on my side. So basically say, oh, okay, here's something for 50 quid, right? Now you might say, oh, well, is it worth it? So, well, it's a good offer, it's good value, and if you're going to sit there and tell me you don't have the money, then you've got to sit there and tell me that you didn't buy Elden Ring. Right, you're going to sit there and tell me that you didn't pay the last AAA game. You're going to sit there and tell me that you're not going to buy GTA 6, because if you are buying those things, then you've got the money, right? Maybe spend a little bit on yourself in terms of improving your outcome, and that often does it. I also have like a £5 offer as well, which is a really small micro course.
Oh, I like that.
And it's a bit of a tester. All right. So I need to, you get all these people coming in, and I get a lot of people who, they come up on my LinkedIn. They're like, oh, Dom, can I pick your brains? Can I pick your brains? What you're saying is you want my services for free. You want me to tell you, you think I have your answers, and you want me to tell you for free. So what I need to figure out is, do you have a propensity to purchase? Right. So I just turn around to them and say, look, would you sit down and say, we'll go for coffee, we'll sit down and I'll tell you everything you need to know about talking to customers and how to find them. Would you pay me to sit down with you to have a cup of coffee and do that? And they would say like, yeah, no, that sounds great. I said, cool. Well, here's a course for £5. And I literally go for 2 hours of explaining how to do this. And if they purchase it, I know they have a propensity to purchase. If they don't purchase it, then I know they don't. So I'm going to be like, well, tough titties for you. See you later. And no, you can't pick my brains. And I recently had a guy who did that as well with me, who really, really was overly insistent on getting help and being like, can you talk to me about this? Can you explain this to me? Can you explain that to me? And I gave him a bunch of time. He turned up to my co-working club. I run a coding co-working club on Saturdays, and he turned up to it. And I said, right, okay, what do you need to know? And he was like, well, I just don't know how to do this marketing thing, or I don't know how to go to market, whatever. I explained it to him. And I said, cool, let's sit down. Half an hour, explained everything, right? That's the basics. That's what you need to know. Now go do it, all right? But he then kept pinging me to say, well, how do I do this? Can you check this over? Can you check this document for me? And I just turned around to him. I said, look, if you want to pay for a session, here's the link. Pay for a session. And I will tell you all those things. I'm not going to sit here and do it for free, am I? Like, are you going to run your business in a way that you're going to give everything away for free on a favour? No, you're not. You're going to put a price tag on it. And my stuff's got a price tag on it. Immediately ghosted me. Didn't say a fucking word at all after that. And then I went to tech startups in the pub a couple of months ago, and he was there. I was like, shit, what are you doing there? And it's like, oh yeah, right, how's that product you coming along? Oh yeah, I'm building something else. Right, okay, cool. Didn't listen to a fucking word I said, did you? So you can't code your way out of every problem, right? At some point, you're going to have to sit down, you're going to have to do the marketing, you're going to have to do the sales, you're going to have to do the branding. At some point, you're going to have to do those things. Why have you built a completely different product now? You spent 2 years working on this thing, 2 years building building this entire system, saying, well, I want to sell it now. How do I market it? And the conclusion you came to was to build another product. It's like, just market it. Just do the marketing. It's fine. Like, if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. And yeah, it was kind of fucking wild, to be honest. So yeah, I'm very much in a place of saying, I don't know, I'm just fucking rambling now. I'm just chatting shit, but fucking... No,
it sounds. Yeah, I mean, I like it. Have you been? Do you go to Indie Beers? We could hook up at Indie Beers.
I've been to Indie Beers, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
With Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
He had issues with me in his fucking WhatsApp group as well. Funny enough. Yeah.
TikTok's banning you, fucking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, No, to be fair, right? Because he did turn around to me and said the same thing, right? Where he said, "Oh, we don't allow people to pitch in our WhatsApp group," and I said, "Right, cool, but I wasn't pitching." Like, can you explain to me exactly what I'm pitching? He was like, no. I was like, okay, cool. So people are like, this is the thing. People. So someone came in with a question about go to market, and I sort of said my usual. You've heard my shit a million fucking times on TikTok, right? When you go to market, there's nothing you can do that's deterministic. Everything is probabilistic. The aim of the game is to stack the odds in your favor, right? I have said it. So how many times have I said it? Like, I can't stop saying it because it's so true, and I need to get it through to people's heads. Because if you constantly chase the deterministic, it will always fail on you. So you have to say, right, how do I stack the odds in my favor? And I was explaining this in the WhatsApp group, and they were like, right, okay, why has no one ever explained that to me? I was like, that's the thing, like, people here go to market, but they think marketing activities. And it's like, those are two different things, right? They're two completely different things. Like, you need to figure out what your go-to-market is. So I started explaining things. I said, look, it's really difficult for me to explain this, right? It's really quite challenging for me to explain this. Like, do you want me to just jump on a call and explain to everybody? Like, I'm more than happy to do that. Like, just me talking about it. Again, just talking about it. That's it. And they said, do you know what? I would love that. Literally, the amount of emojis on me asking that question of do you want me to do it was more than any other message in that entire group. That's how much people wanted it. And just literally like, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. I said, yeah, cool. So I said, look, I'll do it at whatever time. Stuck a link in for a Google Meet thing. And I said, look, I'll just go through it for like 20 minutes. And then if you want to ask me questions, 5 minutes I'll give you 5 minutes for that as well. And he took it out and said, we don't allow people pitching. I'm like, I'm not pitching anything. I'm just saying, come along for a free talk on, the same talk I've given 1,000 times before about the basics of go-to-market for software developers and new founders. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And he said, well, blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, look, I'm not pitching. I know who my ideal customer profile is. I promise you, if I pitch to every single person in your network, in Indie Beers or at Ramen Club or whatever else, right? If I pitch that, do you know what I'll get? Tire kickers. I know it. I know it already. I could promise you they're all tire kickers, right? So there's no point me pitching to them, right? But what I can do is help people, right? I can help them on their journey, because if the entire ecosystem and culture of independent tech grows, that only benefits people who will become my customers. So it's in my interest to help it grow. And he was like, nah, I'm not gonna have that. I was like, okay, cool. And the thing is, I offered to him, like, I'll come and do a talk at Ramen Club if you want, Ramen Space if you want. I'll do it for free. I have no problem doing it, but I just need people to know these basic things, because if people do not understand the basics of marketing, go-to-market, sales, branding, product, if people don't understand those things, they're not going to get their product into market. They're going to fall down at the traps that everybody else falls down on, right? And that's the thing that I'm nagging people about. This is why people keep coming to my TikTok, because they're just like, yes, thank you, I needed to know that. And what ends up happening is, anyway, he kind of said that, and I said, look, I'll come to you for free. He said, yeah, I'll get back to you on that. Never got back to me about it. I was like, fine, I don't give a shit. I'll find another space to do it. I'll create my own goddamn space. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like I'm doing it everywhere anyway, right? And I got invited to another event to go do it, to give the same talk on how to do go-to-market for new founders. And it was literally, it's the same fucking talk every single time. It's the same talk, and everybody goes, thank you for doing that talk. I really needed to hear that stuff. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's fine. Because I benefit from the whole ecosystem growing, right? That's the point. And that's what people miss. They think about their own little space, and they think about the one thing that they do. And it's like, yeah, but you exist in an ecosystem. If the ecosystem isn't there to benefit you, then you're going to fail. It doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to fail. And that's why Altman and Mario and all these other people come forward to say AI is the big thing, right? Because they need the ecosystem of AI to exist, otherwise their products will fail. And they understand it. And that's what I'm trying to communicate to people. It's like, you can't be your own lone wolf going out there to try and take over the world. Nobody does that. It's about the ecosystem at the end of the day. So you need to be able to foster that ecosystem at some level. And that's an important message about marketing as well, is that marketing isn't just about promoting your product. It's about promoting the market itself, right? That's a really, really big part of it, is promote the market itself, and the category, right? It's at all levels, you've got to do that promo. And it's a bit like people who, there's little retro game handholds that play ROMs and things.
Yeah.
The thing that they do most of all is make people aware of the category. Every single one of them. They just make people aware of the category. They don't even sell their own products. They just make people.
Breathing. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold, 5 rounds. Calm down.
Calm down.
Calm down. So yeah, they spend their time promoting the category. These things exist. These little handheld, they're great birthday presents, they're great Father's Day presents, they're great whatever. Little handheld thing. It's like 50 quid. You can play all your old Nintendo games. But the problem is that there's so many people who are unaware of the category itself that all of them do the work to do the awareness for the category, and then they sell their products. And that's why it's become so successful, because they're category first. And that's something that people often miss, is that you're not just marketing yourself, you're marketing the category, you're marketing the market itself, you're putting the market out there itself. And yeah, that's kind of it. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I talk too much.
Guys in the chat, if anyone's got any questions for Dom, put it in the chat now.
Yeah.
About your product, about the market, about marketing. If you've got any, Isaac, if you've got any questions, Truthful, Ron's fam, if you've got any questions, stick it in the chat. How are your products going? What's the latest with your products?
So I recently sold one to somebody else.
Yeah.
It was a hello. And what about if you don't know the legal stuff at all? And how do you learn the legal stuff for your mobile app? Go pay someone to do it. Like that. It's a rough answer, but honestly, if you're looking at legal, go pay somebody to do it. And they're going to have that stuff templated. It's not going to be a lot of money, but go find somebody and say, look, I need to make sure I'm okay. Now, the legality is going to change depending on your app. So I don't know what your app is, but that's what you're going to have to figure out. And if you can't figure that out, then go pay somebody. And you can get yourself started with AI just to say, like, what do I need? What questions do I even need to ask? Right. But if you start with AI and say, look, what questions do I need to ask? Who do I need to find? What's the type of person I need to find? You'll be able to go and pay someone 100 quid and say, just look at this for me, please. And just tell me what to do. And just do that. That's the easiest way of doing it. No, same on accounting. You do not want to get into that game. It's a job on its own, so you do not want to know it. I hope that helps. But yeah, I built a small automation, which was just for project management for people who are in the design space and having to move graphic designs between different people and manage files. And I had this little thing and it was plodding along. I wasn't really doing anything with it, to be honest. And then I was like, oh man, I've got 50 users. It's not a lot, but I wasn't really doing anything with it. I just built it because I was just like, it was COVID and I was bored. And then one of the people who uses it, they were kind of talking to me about, we don't really see your products out there very much and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not really that bothered by it. I'm trying to find someone to buy it off me, to be honest. And they said, well, we'll buy it off you. And I was like, yeah, just fucking send me a number. It's like, yeah, send me a fucking number. I don't give a shit. So I'm just working that out now. But I am also working on another product. However, I'm not rushing into all of the things. I'm taking my time because what I'm doing is documenting the journey week by week so that people can see how I make decisions and how I make movements. And what I'm trying to get over to people is how I start with the go-to-market and then work out what are my go-to-market paths and what is my distribution, and then think about the product afterwards. And the whole point is to go, you start off with people, then you go to problem, and then you go to product. And building up the distribution first is what's going to feed into everything. And I've been documenting the journey on YouTube to say, hey, at ChuffDom on YouTube, by the way, everybody, thank you, to document the journey along the way, to say, okay, well, start off with, right, who are the people I'm building for? Well, software developers and engineers. Why? Because I've spoken to nearly 1,000 of them in the past year. That is not an exaggeration. I speak to so many people. And the problem I want to solve, and I've sort of done those first two bits, right? The problem I want to solve is that many people who are developers become founders. They struggle and often make bad go-to-market and product decisions simply because they haven't talked to enough people. And that happens because they kind of just don't want to, right? and that's understandable. However, as I've been, how do I learn more about this problem? I talked about, I started doing a bit of outreach. I started putting on events like webinars and workshops and stuff like this. I'll put together like a little course and just give that away and say, right, does anyone want that? And start to gauge what the sentiment of all these people are. And then as I talk to them more, I dig more into the problem. And the thing that I realized was, actually, what it comes down to is yes, they haven't talked to enough people, and yes, they don't want to. But what that information needs to feed into is how do I spend my time, effort, and money? And it's like, okay, cool, right. So you are going out doing marketing, but you don't know if it's effective. Sometimes some marketing doesn't yield you any results for 6 to 12 months, which is quite tough, right? So how do you have a structured value delivery for you where you have confidence at every step of the way, right? So a bit like Couch to 5K, right, or Duolingo, right? Structured, programmed value delivery. I am in it for the long term, right? And that's the sort of space where people started to react quite interestingly, where they were like, yeah, that's kind of just what do I do today? Just tell me what to do today. I'll go do it. And then in 6 months' time, I'll work something out, right? And it's like, yeah, cool, fine. Let's put that together then. And I don't know fully what that looks like, but that's probably going to be my next product, I think. But that's going from people, then problem, then product, right? Like people have asked me, right, where can I download your app? They've asked me, can I be a tester for your app, blah, blah, blah. I have no app. I have nothing in development. I haven't even got an idea. And people are coming to me to say, can I use your thing? Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you go to market. It's that strong.
Nice.
So that's my next product in the pipeline. But I'm doing it slowly because I want to, go through every single bit of it. I don't want to go, oh yeah, I did all the outreach stuff and that's it. Like I want to talk about the outreach and how I did it and the principles and concepts behind it. Because yeah, it's boring. I get it's boring. But you know what? Boring is sexy and boring pays the bills. So I have made, a very good career on the boring. And yes, there will always be people to pay for the boring. That's the thing. So there we go. And come back again. Where to find these people, like if it's a buying and selling app like eBay, LinkedIn would be a good shout, but also you can just go on Upwork and just post something on Upwork to say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's in legal. I want to pay £100 for it. I have these questions I need answering and I need the legal for my app. In fact, Upwork probably would be a good space for that, to be honest. And you may well find somebody for like £100, and you're just looking to get what you need to get out the door. That's it. That's all you're looking for. So yeah, start off with Upwork, then maybe go on LinkedIn and maybe ask some questions on there. Go do a bit of search. You'll probably find people eventually. So I hope that helps. Right, we have been streaming for nearly an hour and a half now. Hour and a half, actually. Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was good. I enjoyed that. I'm glad it was helpful.
No, it was, man. Yeah, I think it just, it was helpful.
Good.
A bit more focused on LinkedIn. I think I need to, after getting kind of slightly inspired around the copy around the goal, that book by Gold Rat. I think I've got definitely, it's not enough just to talk about, you can save 10 hours. It's got to be about, well, what are those 10 hours going to do for you?
Yeah.
It's going to give you more throughput. It's going to give you more shipments. It's going to give you more money.
Yeah. I remember they're the hero. So how can you tell their hero story? Yeah. Think Simon Scribb. What's your dream? Nah.
Cash. need to get the cash box. Shit.
Right, let's call it there. I don't think I've got any more questions coming in. And also, I got one new follower out of this. That happened, which is nice. A few people dropped in, but yeah, thanks TikTok for limiting my reach because I did something that apparently that I quite clearly didn't do. That's great. Thanks very much. But yeah, I'm on the subject of doing things. I want to go down to the gym. I'm going to have myself a little half-hour swim, I think, and fingers crossed that the pool is nice and empty for me. I always go mid-afternoon because it means the kids aren't going to be there. Real quick at the end about people to learn about problem and go get first customers. Yeah, I think what you're saying is what I'm saying. Right, go follow me on YouTube at ChuffedOn, and you'll see my first lot of videos, me vlogging the whole thing about me building this app and the process I'm going through. I'm talking about the go-to-market, I'm talking about the outreach, I'm talking about all that kind of stuff first. But even though I don't have an idea, I don't have anything in development, I don't have an app, people are asking me to use my product. I do not have one. I haven't even started one. And yet they're asking me, why is that happening? Because my go-to-market is buttoned up. And when you button up your go-to-market, people will climb over all obstacles to get in front of you to give you money. That's what happens. But you need to get your go-to-market buttoned up. And that's what I talk about every single time. Follow me here on TikTok. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me in all the places because it's all I talk about.
Wicked. All right, Dom.
Cool. Right. Have a good one. Pleasure. We've got to do it again soon as well.
Yeah,
Good luck with that stuff.
Soon.
Totally. Bye.
Right, peace.
Alrighty. So for my stream, let's just go over to full camera. There we go. So I hope all you folks, took some value away from that and are in a position where that might help you. You know, there's a lot talking about go-to-market. There's a lot talking about what we can do as new founders and how we can go out there. But notice how we didn't talk about the product the whole time, right? This is what's important. How often did we talk about the product and what it does, and all this stuff? Doesn't matter. Who's it for? How you get in front of them? How are you going to compel them? How are you going to do all this stuff? That's the shit that's important. So you need to focus in. Get locked in. Get on that stuff. On that note, I'm going to go and have a swim. Thank you very much for joining me in the live stream. I will see you next Tuesday, 12 o'clock.